Okay, good morning. How are you all doing? Good? Are you excited to be here? Worship was great. It's only one guy that can sing like Calvin, and it's me. It's not him. I'm the one that trained him to sing like that, so please just keep that in mind. But yeah, what a privilege for me to be here today, just to share the Word of God with you guys. And like Calvin mentioned now, we're in our third week of a series that we call Relationslips. And doesn't we all know that slip, that moment of slip? But what it's all about is relationship. So just to recap on the past weeks that we were discussing, was the first week we discussed the relationship of the slip of selfishness. And then the second week was the one of silence. Remember last week, for those who were here, I was sitting here with my wife, and with the silent thing, she was bumping me the whole time. I got bruises and scars that I can show to you guys afterwards if you don't believe. But as I was going through it, I'm like, but it's actually really me, because I can go into that time of where I'm just silent, completely silent. And it works for me, but clearly it doesn't work for her. So, and then I say to her, but remember, week 3 is coming. And the week 3 is the one of offense. And I'm like, you could be so glad that I'm not sitting down there, because I would give you one back now. But then I realized as I was preparing this word, I'm like, maybe it's not her, it's me. So yeah, so just to recap about it. But yeah, in this week 3, we're going to speak about relationslips of the one of offense, the slip of offense. So how many of you can relate with the term offense, getting quickly offensive? Okay, not many, but let me give you a story. So Calvin told me during the week, I'm fat. I'm like, how dare you telling me I'm fat? And in that moment, I was offended. I'm like, Calvin? Yeah, and I took it at heart, and I was like, no, this is not great. And you know what? I was walking with this whole thing the whole week. I'm fat. And then I went to Calvin. I'm like, Calvin, why did you tell me I'm fat? And he said to me, no, what I was meaning is that you are faithful, you're available, and that you're teachable. That's what you are. And I'm like, why couldn't you just say that to me? You know, from the beginning. And so I think many times we get so quickly offended by people saying the thing when they say something, and we're so offensive with the reaction that stirs within us. Everyone knows that moment. A careless comment, just like I said now with Calvin. There was this careless comment that he made, but his intentions was completely the opposite of what I was thinking it was. A forgotten greeting, a tone was misunderstood, a facial expression we misread. Now you will see I have this frown on my face constantly. And many people misread this frown on my face. I don't know why. It's almost like I smell something dirty the whole time. But it's just me thinking. And people will take offense of it. I'm like, why? Because if I open my eyes completely, then everybody's freaked out. Then I'm like, why are your eyes so wide open? Rather give me the frown back. And then the unexpected, someone never knew, expectation that somebody never knew. So there was a certain expectation that nobody knew, and you get offended about it. What starts small become heavy. We just sang the song of giants, and we carry it in our hearts. We carry it in our minds, and we allow it to shape our relationship. And isn't that so many times what happens? Whatever somebody says, we take it at heart, and it bruise within inside here, instead of like, but why did he say it? It's like me, why, Calvin, why? Why did you tell me I'm fat? And I was like, the whole time this thing, it stirs, it brews within us. But Scripture says offense is not just a feeling, it's a trap, it's a slip. It's where we sometimes slip within it. I want to quote this quote from Lewis B. Smedes, and he says, "To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that that prisoner was you." Unforgiven hurt traps us, not the other person. It later becomes more than a trap, but a giant that we have to face. Isn't that true? Unspoken pain becomes eternal baggage we have to carry. Nelson Mandela said this: resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemy. Avoided offense grows silently. What we ignore becomes the giant that shapes our relationship. So offense is definitely a slip in a relationship. The way that you're going to interpret it is going to be the way that you're going to live. In Proverbs 18:19 it says, "A brother offended is harder to win than a strong city, and contentions are like the bars of a castle." It builds walls, closes the gates of our hearts, creates self-protection that becomes self-imprisonment. And isn't that exactly what happens? But Ephesians 2:14 says, and here's the beauty of it, it's all about Christ. We just sang songs that's all about Christ, pointing to Christ. It's about Jesus. And it says in Ephesians 2:14, "For he himself is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of separation. He has come for us to be peace and to live in peace." But sometimes we can just let that one offense slip in and hinder the peace. Where offense builds walls, Jesus tears them down, giving us peace. It is God's heart that we don't build walls. We live free in good relationship with one another. It's His heart from the start. As you look in Genesis, His heart was from the beginning with Adam and Eve to have relationship. It's like the prodigal son as well. When the father was looking for him, it's relationship. The father is looking for his son to come back home for relationship. It's all about the love of the father. Second point that I want to bring out is offense often begins small. Small seeds that grow big. A misread tone. And that, once again, the analogy of Calvin telling me I'm fat. It's a misread tone. The way that he said it, he could have said it in a totally different way, but it's a misread tone. An unintentional comment, a expectation, a perceived lack of appreciation. How many times do we take offense of something that we've done and we've worked so hard at it, but in that moment, it feels like nobody saw it. Nobody sees the time and the effort that I put into this, and just say, thank you for this. And then we take offense of it because nobody cares, nobody sees it. Song of Solomon says in Song of Solomon 2 verse 15, "Catch us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines." It's those little things that just brewing in our heart that becomes this big giant in our lives. Hidden offenses become toxic offense. Most offenses begins with something so tiny. Have you ever slipped on a stone? Who of you guys slip on a wet stone? I'm laughing because my brother-in-law here sitting, and he was looking after the kids over the weekend. We were on not a breakaway, but we just had a 40th birthday party, and they were looking after the kids, and there's this almost like a slippery slope of water that's just running in at our in the street. And as he was running, he tried to stop, but he stopped in that stream, and he slipped and he fell, and he said, I did not expect that. And how many times does that happen to us? Just when you putting in the wrong step on a wet tile, and you slip and you fall. That's how quickly offense enters. Jesus cares about small issues. He confronts gently with love. And I want to repeat that one, because that one is the one that needs to stick at heart today. He confronts gently with love. And we'll get a little bit later to that as well. He heals deeply. He prevents long-term relation destruction. Our interpretation or perspective often is often the problem that we are sitting with. The way that we interpret something is the way that we're going to live it, or how we take it at heart. James 1 says, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Have you ever, and you guys can put up that slide, there's two lines that we want to draw, starting at the same point. Have you ever seen this thing? At point A, both lines start there, but with 1 degree out, over a certain distance, there is a lot of space between it. And that's how offense enters. It's that little point there at A. That's where it started. It's the root. I'm so offended by this thing that he said, and we just leave it. But over a certain time, over a certain length, it becomes fruit that we have to deal with. But where the root was actually just to go and solve it in the beginning. But now we leave it and we carry with it. We carry this baggage. And then we have to sit with this big space of fruit. And it's not even the root. Another illustration is that I always say to the guys at CCEP. I see there's a few guys here that's from CCEP. About perspective. It's like if I hold my Bible like this, Calvin, what do you see? You see a square block, right? More or less. You don't have to be accurate. Okay? But more or less, you see a square block. That person does not see a square block. It's more a rectangular, thin line. Is it still a Bible? So your perspective and her perspective is different at the same thing. And sometimes that's how we differ with people and have big fights about certain things that is actually about the same principle. And it's the same thing that we are seeing. Perspective is the way to do, your perspective is not necessarily the right way. Always try to hear what somebody else says. Offense is often not about the event, but about the story we tell ourselves. Can I repeat that? Because there's certainly somebody hear me here in the front, and I love it. Offense is often not about the event, but the story we tell ourselves. They don't value me. They meant to hurt me. They always do this. Isn't that what we tell ourselves? But the truth may be they were stressed. The person that said it was maybe stressed. They're going through something. But in that moment, I'm so offended. It's all about me. They didn't realize that we are going through a crisis, and you just said something in that moment. And within that moment, you're taking it so personally that it hurts you. They meant something completely different. like Calvin. He meant something completely different. But I took it so personally. Jesus constantly corrected false interpretations. He changed the way people see things, not just what they did. Let me repeat that again. He changed the way people see things, not just what they did. So it's not about the doing, but the way you see. Because the way you're going to see Jesus is the way you're going to live. Because the way you see Jesus is the way you receive Jesus. And so take that seriously as well. The way you see the cross is the way you're going to live the cross. Offence blocks love and unity. Proverbs 17:19 says, "He who covers a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates friends." Love covers. It creates space for grace. Offense uncovers. What we take offense, unity suffers. When we take offense, unity suffers. 1 Peter 4:8 says, "Love will cover a multitude of sin." Let that sink in. Love will cover a multitude of sin. Jesus covered our offense against God. He calls us to cover others with the same grace. Here's the cure. Guard your heart, not your offense. It's about the heart. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life." Guarding your heart means let go quickly, forgive freely, assume the best. Okay, I want to just throw in a joke in here, and I hope you're going to get it. But I'm going to give my best here. So, if you're not assuming the best, assume, what's the other name for a donkey? Before I go there. It's an ass. Okay, so I'm just going to throw it out there before you think I'm saying something else. But you're making a donkey out of me and you when you assume. So when you assume, you're making an ass out of me and you. Okay, just throwing it out there. So you can interpret, remember what I said, this is still a Bible, but the way you see it, the way you see it, where I see it, it's different. Okay. So always assume the best in a person. Okay, communicate honestly. I should have just went straight from the beginning to that person, to Calvin, and said, "Calvin, why did you say I'm fat?" And he would have said, "No, man, that's not what I meant. What I was actually saying is, you're such a great person. You're faithful, you're available, always teachable." But all I hear was this horrible thing. Forgiveness does not say it didn't matter. It says it will not master me. Okay, so let that one also sink in. Then, Jesus calls us to a higher way. It says in Matthew 5:9, "Blessed are the peacemaker, for they shall be called sons of God." Always seek peace. In Matthew 18:15, it says, "Moreover, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him." Where? In the street? Publicly? No, alone. Go and do it alone in a separate space. Address the issue with the person that you think is an issue. Maybe it's not even that big of an issue. And then all of a sudden, I always tell my wife, "I'm so hurt by what this person just said to me." And then she will tell me, "Just go and sleep it off. Tomorrow morning, you're going to feel better." And then I'm like, "Nope, I'm angry. I'm going to kill that guy and knock his teeth out." And then I go to bed and I wake up and I feel completely different. Always seek the peace in it. This means we do not stew in silence. Remember last week? So we don't brew on that silence and let that silence thing go on, or I'm so offended, I'm just going to keep it aside. Because remember that point A to point B, the longer you wait, that 1 degree is going to be fruit that you have to deal with, instead of killing that root right in the beginning. It does not mean gossip. Withdraw emotionally. Oh, aren't we men good at that? Just to draw out. When we get emotionally, we're like, I withdraw with this. I'm not going to be emotionally about this. Replay the hurt. So, we do seek understanding, forgive quickly, address issue privately and humbly. Now, there's a story that I want to share with you guys, and you all know the story between Jesus and Peter. Peter, one of Jesus' best friends. And there's the scene where Jesus is in Matthew 16, and Jesus reveals to his disciples his coming, suffering, and death. Who all knows that story? You know the story? Where Jesus actually spoke to the disciples and he said to them, the day is coming for me that I'm going to go through this. And the disciples are shaken. They are all so scared and afraid. Peter, the emotional and afraid one, steps forward. And he reacts because he's offended by it. Jesus, you're my best friend. Now you're telling me this? Now there's a thing that we call, a saying that I usually say, nie my garage nie. It's not going to happen in my tavern, not in my house. And his reaction is 100 rand to a 10 rand situation. So he reacts with this 100 rand emotional thing. It's like, far be it from you, Lord. This shall not happen to you. I could say that a little bit better now. Far be it from you, Lord. Nie my garage nie. And Jesus looks at him and he says to him with so much love, but why did Peter react like that? Because his fear of losing Jesus, confusion about the future, misinterpretation of God's plan. But he was so offended by what Jesus was saying that he took it in like, yeah, it will not happen. I will do whatever I can, but that will not happen. Then Jesus' response was out of love. And this is where he could have really be at a place where he might have been offended. He said to him, get behind me, Satan. So Peter's standing there. It's like, God, I'm for you. I'm with you. This is not going to happen. And now he's telling me, get behind me, Satan. You're definitely not speaking to me. And I can just see Peter in that moment, like, definitely confused. But Jesus never attacked Peter, but he rescued Peter. Why Jesus spoke sharply? He confronted the trap forming in Peter's heart. He exposed the lie before it produces fruit. He protected Peter from deception. We all know the story. Later, Peter denies Jesus 3 times. After Jesus said to him, that's what's going to happen. Then he denied him 3 times. Yet after the resurrection, Jesus makes breakfast for him. Jesus restores him with love. Jesus replaces each denial with a call. Jesus asked Peter, do you love me? And he says, yes, Lord, I love you. Jesus asked him again, do you love me? He says, yes. The 3rd time he said to him, go feed my sheep now. And with so much love, Jesus will always come and try and rescue us out of that giant, that fruit that I'm speaking about, that offense that was something so small, could have become something so big, such a big giant in our relationship with the people, the colleagues, friends, family, spouse. But Jesus is the one saying, I'm here to help you. I'm convicting you in righteousness, in love. I want to get you out of that situation that you find yourself in. But here's the second story. So the one reacted out of offense. We all agree with that, right? So Peter, he got to a place where he reacted out of offense. He was offensive, like, no, not in my garage. But here's another story. Jesus goes to the woman at the well in John 4. And he tells her whole life. Her life before Jesus was wounded by failed marriages, rejected by her community. She carried layers of shame, avoiding people at the well, avoiding offense, avoiding pain. She is in the perfect place to take offense at anything that you're going to tell her in that moment. Then Jesus meets her alone. Remember what I said? Not in front of everybody. He met her alone at noon. Tired, thirsty, but intentional. Sometimes we like, I'm so tired, I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to skip that one. Let me rather go to that. But he was thirsty, he was tired, but with intentionality, he went to her and he sat with her. He speaks truth in compassion to her, reveals her past without exposing her dignity, confronts the issue without crushing her spirit, offers living water, the healing she never found in relationships. And isn't that the serious name? Relationslips. He could have exposed everything and in that moment offended her in so many ways, but he didn't. And the way she reacted is, I think, the way we all should react when it comes to, because what she experienced in that moment was somebody that loves me, somebody that sees me. Yes, he knows all these things about me. But with that compassion, with that love of Christ, she didn't feel offended. She didn't take it serious at heart. But what she did, her response was, she ran back to the city joyfully. When Jesus is the center, when Jesus is what you're looking at, and not taking offense of what's being said to you, and it's all about you, you will run to the city with a joyful heart. The woman who avoided people now become a messenger of hope. Offense replaced with freedom. She's freed because she didn't take offense of what was being said, but she took what Jesus said at heart and said, you know what, God, you freed me within it. And that's what Jesus is all about. Jesus removes the sting of offense and fills the heart with freedom and with love. Calvin, you guys can come up. And I want to close off with another quote. And I want this quote to just sit for a little while on the slide. It says, Corrie ten Boom says, look at the world and be stressed. Look within and be depressed. But look at Christ and be at rest. The more you look at Christ, the more you receive Christ, the more you will operate in rest. When you fully in a place of rest, you cannot take offense because you will be slow to anger. You will be slow to be offended in what's being said. Because I know the more I look at Christ, the more I become like Christ, the more His characteristics are showing within my life. Because the way you receive Jesus today, I'm going to say it again, the way you receive Jesus today is the way you're going to live tomorrow. The way you see Jesus is the way you're going to live. The more you receive Jesus, the less that giant becomes a giant. Because you kill the root. You don't have to deal with that fruit anymore. And sometimes we get to ourselves the opportunity, we give the transgressor, we give the devil that space just to tell that lie to us. Is that really what he said? And we brew on it and it stirs in our heart. We give the devil too much credit for some lie that he told us. And it hurts us. It hurts us the whole time. Offense loses its grip when Christ becomes our focus. So may we look at Christ constantly every single second. With every conversation that we have, may we look at Christ in every way. Practical steps to avoid the slip. Pause before reacting. Just pause before you react on what's been said. Ask, Lord, Holy Spirit, is this hurt real or perceived? Remember the assume. Assume the best, not the worst. Assume the best, what was been said to me. Assume the best. Give others the same grace you want, because that same grace, that's what God has given us. Talk to people, not about them. Just talk to people, not about them. One honest conversation can heal months of silent resentment. Forgive quickly. Release before it becomes bitterness. Bitterness can brew quickly in our hearts, and it become this big giant. We're going to sing the song now at the end. We've sang it now in our worship set as well, where Christ has already defeated the giant for us. Why don't we just receive that? Why don't we just receive Jesus, the grace, more and more? So forgive quickly. Remember your own humanity. You've misunderstood others too. Give the grace you have received. The outcome, it's all about Jesus. What Christ removed, the offense between us and God, the hostility that divides relationships, the shame that fuels offense. I want to say that one again. The shame that fuels offense. He removed that shame. The lies that distort our view. We can quickly fall into that lie of a distorted view. She said something like that, and because of that, with my insecurities that I have right now, I take it at heart. But it's not even what was meant. The fear that keeps us reactive. Remember, He is our peace. He is our freedom. He is the one who steadies our heart. Guard your heart. Guard your heart at all times. looking at Jesus. Because when you look at Jesus, it's impossible to take offense when somebody says something that you didn't like at that moment. Believe in a life without offense. It will set you up with a life of a lighter heart, a clearer mind, stronger relationship, deeper inner peace, more room for love. Jesus came to make this real for us. So we're going to sing this song in the ministry moment now. And whatever lie the devil has told you, whatever thing that you might have gone through during this week, where somebody said something to you that you took so much offense of, just lay it at the cross for this next few minutes. We're going to sing this song. And I want to close with this last thing saying, fix your eyes on Jesus. He has set you free from the slip of offense. Let us stand.